really beautiful thing I'll just say about this conscious living thing is from any home, from any income level, anywhere on the planet, in any region of the world, we can find it and we can live into it. And that's
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome everybody to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. I am so grateful to be with you today. I have a really phenomenal guest today. I mean, this is somebody I just feel has huge warehouses of wisdom and knowledge to share with you, and I just can't wait to share them with you. And he has put together a platform, Humanity's Team, that hosts so many leading edge thought leaders and all kinds of change makers and whatnot. And I just couldn't be more thrilled to have you on the show today, Steve.
Daniel, thanks so much for having me. I am excited. We got a lot of ground to cover, so gonna be fun.
And guys, you absolutely have to. I know I'm always excited, but listen to me. If you like people like Wayne Dyer and all those type of folks, Barbara Marx Hubbard, etc., you have got to listen to this podcast. Wait until you hear what's going on. Okay, he's got some breaking news. This is one of the first platforms he's making this news available to about something going on with those beings. So I can't wait to get into that in just a little while here. Okay, but let me first tell you a little bit more about Steve. Steve Farrell is the co-founder and worldwide executive director of Humanity's Team, a global nonprofit based in Boulder, Colorado, advancing the understanding of our deep interconnection. Previously, he led two successful technology firms in Silicon Valley, both recognized in the Inc. 500 list. Inspired by Neale Donald Walsch's vision, Steve shifted from his corporate career to co-found Humanity's Team in 2003. So he's a real pioneer here. Under his leadership, the organization has grown to nearly 700,000 supporters across 150 countries, working to establish conscious living as a global norm by 2040. Steve is the author of A New Universal Dream and a contributor to the Gold Nautilus Award-winning Our Moment of Choice. He is also a member of the Evolutionary Leaders Circle and resides in Boulder, Colorado. So, all right. Well, Steve, wow. Yeah, there is a lot of ground to cover. There's lots going on. I know last time we talked, this will be a little spicy to mention. Yeah, we were talking before the election, right? So there's a lot going on. I always like to poll shift, right? And there's the team that's angry and mad about it. There's the team that's like, we've just made it. We made it to the finish line. And you got everything else in between. But the truth is the evolution of the consciousness is happening regardless of what it looks like on the outside, in my opinion, anyway. And, you're leading that charge ahead. So I'm curious, since the last time we've talked, like, what have your thoughts and insights been? What are some of the new things that are like popping in your awareness of what's unfolding right now during these times?
Yeah, Daniel, so a lot to unpack there for sure. So first, as you mentioned, the constant here, whether you like the election, didn't like the election, is is elevating consciousness, living into this higher self. I think most people would say, yes, that's right. This is about really elevating our own consciousness, going into our bigger self, our higher self, which and creating our individual lives and a planet that get back to being healthy, because most people would say it isn't real healthy right now. So yes, now let me just for background, so people can understand. I was, as you mentioned briefly, I was in Silicon Valley in the 1990s, and I was in the right place at the right time, because I came from very humble backgrounds, probably more humble than most people listening. Little 1,200 square foot home, divorced mom, 6 brothers and sisters, and a dog. Not a lot of space there. And then I found myself in Silicon Valley right out of college, started two companies that each went to 75 million in revenue. And then I was in the Inc. 500 twice, almost a third time, a young entrepreneurs organization. I was the president of YEO for San Francisco and Silicon Valley. I was the second president. And then the Young Presidents Organization picked me up as an officer, and people like Gavin Newsom and others, leaders that were equally amazing, were in my chapter. There were about 60 of us. So, and then I left. Yes, I left, like you mentioned, with Neale Donald Walsch to launch Humanities Team there back in June of 2003. So 21 years ago. And then we have evolved Humanities Team. It's unfolded into something we candidly had not envisioned near the beginning or even planned for, which is we're now the largest global streaming platform for consciousness raising, masterclasses, and transformational education in the whole world, and translating our new programs in 75 languages. So quite a journey here. You know, the American dream, where I wasn't in the front row, I was on the stage living it, and candidly, I didn't find it all there, and that's why I left. And then I launched off in this direction that we call conscious living in Humanities Team, which I know we'll be talking about. And that's where I found it. And the really beautiful thing I'll just say about this conscious living thing is, from any home, from any income level, anywhere on the planet, in any region of the world, we can find it and we can live into it. And that's the beautiful thing about the promise of conscious living.
Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lots to unpack, lots to talk about. My goodness. So, um, yeah, I mean, even the words conscious living like really grabbed me, because people talk a lot about, yeah, conscious this, conscious that. Now, and then just to go back to your background. So, I grew up mostly in the 70s, 80s and all that as a kid and teenager and everything. And then we get into the 90s, and we all have our different perception of the 90s, but we had, you had that time when all this new stuff was happening, the internet and everything, Silicon Valley stuff, and you're a part of that. You're on the front seat of it. And I think that's so exciting, and that you've been a pioneer, probably throughout your life in different ways, I'm imagining. I don't know, but I'm just guessing. And so that's got to be fun, and you probably see things coming that other people don't see that are about to happen, right? And so I think that when we talk about conscious living, we're talking about, how are we all evolving? Like, how are we evolving? Um, Whereas we come from the paradigm, when I grew up, of like, well, we just kind of get by, and we try to make money, and we try to take care of people, materially speaking, and all that sort of thing, like those sort of the ideas. And but then, that's fallen apart. I even feel like 9/11 was sort of like the bang, wake up call, because I see it deep at a deeper spiritual level for the West, and it's like, oh wow, maybe there's more going on here. So there's been a lot that's unfolded, and yet you're right there in the front seat, it seems to me.
Yeah, well, no, as you mentioned, I've been early with these things. Entrepreneur was not a big thing in the 90s, in the early 90s. So when I was an entrepreneur, growing my company rapidly from two guys in used furniture, to the first company went to 175 people, the second one about 700 people. People were like, "Why did you leave IBM, Steve? You had a maid, you were on the executive resources list and stuff." But I was called to leave and go start these companies, and it was a blast. And we adopted the local high school that didn't have any money and did some cool things like that. But I realized even back then in the 90s that the challenges are huge in this world. And of course, we would all agree with that now, but they were even huge in the 90s. And I felt like I was playing a kid's game, just sort of enriching shareholders. And I said, I think there's a bigger role I'm supposed to play, even though when I left and started this conscious living thing, people thought I'd lost my mind. It jumped off, I burned my lottery ticket. Here I can see, my God, thank God I did what I did, and started this whole conscious living thing with Neale Donald Walsch. He, by the way, is the author of the Conversations with God books, or 9 of those books that are quite big out in the world. And conscious living, just briefly, so we get a definition in, the mystics, most people know, down through the ages have shared, right, of this oneness, this, you could call it universal consciousness that animates all of life. Most of us have heard terms like that, right? Or this deeply interconnected world. We've heard these kinds of terms. And then you've got even people like Plato and Hippocrates. Most people have heard those names. They were in 450 BCE, 2,500 years ago, who were affirming this mystical notion that, yes, there's one consciousness, that we're all a part of, that there is a universal consciousness animating you and me and all of life. And then more recently, you had guys like Albert Einstein come along, who's probably still the most esteemed scientist in the planet, who said in 1921, so this is over 100 years ago, he said, this is his quote, "The greatest illusion in the world is the illusion of separation." So now we're getting into conscious living, which is conscious. So people say, well, conscious of what, Steve? Conscious of what? Well, conscious that, just like we call it the Galileo moment, that in Galileo's time in the 1600s, we all thought that the earth, yes, was the center of the universe. The earth is the center of the universe. And it was canon with the church. And boy, you better not be walking out on the street saying anything other than the earth is the center of the universe. So Galileo got himself in a whole bunch of trouble when, with his telescopes, he said, nope, it just isn't true. We're in a solar system. We're not near the center of the universe at all, revolving around a sun with other planets and stuff. And he almost got himself killed. Okay, now likewise, today, science is affirming, even Nobel Prize for Physics 2022, that, oh my God, we're not the center of our universe. We're not separate from each other, just like what Albert Einstein said, that it's a deeply interconnected world. There's a wholeness, a oneness, right? Which is the cosmos or universe, or we could just call it this world if we're more comfortable doing that, where we're deeply affecting each other, which doesn't sound like such a wild notion, that I'm deeply affecting people that might be listening. And when I listen to them, they might be deeply affecting me, right? That's not such a wild notion. But living into it, understanding that we're not the center of the whole thing, that there's a wholeness at the center, a universal consciousness at the center, which includes the planet. Maybe we shouldn't treat it like a warehouse, plant life, animal life, other people. So once we start living into that, oh my God, there's a wholeness, a oneness. And why don't I try living into that instead of this little meanness thing, just me, me, me? We find, wow, that's a whole different way of living. A little more open-hearted, a little more in service, a little more thoughtful, listening a little better, right? And this is where, like, I found the delicious life thing that I'd been looking for when I went to Silicon Valley, the exquisite life. There are different words I could use here, but where I said, wow, this feels really good. This is what I didn't find in Silicon Valley from just money, money, money. And this is what Humanity's team, with our streaming platform, which is all over the world, where we have the largest library now of these master classes that are all about this, with spiritual leaders, the scientists. You mentioned some of their names earlier there, Daniel. Conscious business, of course, embodied practices like Qigong and yoga and stuff. So that's just real briefly kind of a little bit about conscious living.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, even though I was in the 90s when I became a psychotherapist and all that. And then in the 90s, I started studying metaphysics and spirituality, and it came natural to me. I was like, I already know this stuff at some level, right? Like, oh yeah, okay. And some of it blew my mind, obviously, and seemed new. But my point is, as I got into it, uh, you, as you awaken, you get more conscious, if we want to call it that, like whatever it is we're calling, as you're awakening, the universal experience tends to be, almost, somewhat universal, is that people awaken to a level and then they're like, oh yeah, I'm totally awake now. And then all of a sudden something else comes up. They have another dark night of the soul, or something else comes up in their life, and they're like, oh my God, I'm going through it again. And then they go through it again. And like, So there's always more we're waking up to. I feel like it never really ends. I know there's masters, and I've had maybe a couple of them on this show and everything, but even Neale, right? I've had him on the show. All
Yeah.
of them. We all have the stuff that's still percolate. I don't believe that people that say they're impervious to everything, if they ever say that. We all are consciously evolving. And so like for me, it's exciting because I'm like, how much more do I get to embody being the allness that I am in my heart and everything? Like, I mean, it's exciting because some people are like, we're not perfect, that sucks. It's like, no, I feel like it's exciting. We've got more we can live into, right? That's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. Exactly, Daniel. It's an ascending staircase, and there is no there, right? Is what we're told by the mystics and even scientists as they study this, what entanglement thing is what they sometimes refer to it as, which is that you just keep climbing. There's no like there in terms of some 1,000%. Instead, as we climb, they're like new understandings, new realities, new expressions. Sometimes we start out as a truth teller, and as we're on this journey, we become a little more open-hearted, and it's not just truth telling. We're just starting to express more healing or more love or something, more service, right? So it's a journey that's got all kinds of new vistas, new expressions, and it's beautiful. It just keeps getting better and better. I think that um, the beautiful thing about this time, and you don't hear that, not putting those words together too often in today's world. Beautiful thing about this time, because it's such a challenging time, but is that people are opening themselves because it's so challenging, that it's fertile ground now ever since COVID, and the election. It's fertile ground for there must be something more. I'm sure I can live into some deeper values here. I think I could maybe find something that could bring me even more joy and happiness, more meaning and purpose. And that's the really nice thing. And that's why we're growing and getting involved with people, more and more people all over the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely was thinking about that after I said the 9/11 thing. I'm like, yeah, about 20 years later, we had another big one here in the US of like, wow, okay, everybody, you stay at home. You think about some things, okay? And I don't care what people think about how the 9/11 conspiracy, the COVID conspiracy, even if it's all true, I still see it at a spiritual level. Like that's what happened. Like we're all told by source or whatever. Like it's time to wake up, And it's like I feel like it just keeps coming to us, like these opportunities in these collective ways and individual ways every day. We're always given that chance, that opportunity to do that. So, from your perspective, I mean, all the great teachers also talk about really from my understanding and my readings or whatever, but like they're always about it's about love and heart space and everything. But I think like even the most heart-centered people sometimes, yeah, when things are going on in the world, that they, whether it's the political or war or whatever it is, they're like, that shouldn't be happening, and there's like anger, and there's all that, and it's okay that people get upset, but I think like people lose their footing. I remember Deepak when Trump got elected the first time, he absolutely was like going out. He apologized, I think, later. He just was like going out of his mind that he's so mad about it, and it's like that's part of our evolution too. Like when things don't go our way, like for the other team or whatever, other people or whatever, the so-called others, there aren't others really, right? But like the others that are like, oh, Trump, yay. But like if it had gone the other way, they'd be like, oh, right. So it's like this polarity, this sense of polarity. There's always going to be a sense of polarity in this field, right? So I know I'm hitting a lot of topics at once. I
Yeah,
tend to
no.
be.
So let me. I mean, these are good topics because it's today's world, Daniel. You're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
your finger straight on it. And so here's the beautiful thing: is by politics or by means other than spiritual means, we
Mm-hmm.
will not get there. Okay,
Right.
that's
Right.
you got to call that a subjective truth because this is,
Right.
people have to kind of lean into this and come to their own understandings. But here's my belief that we're not there are no elections now or around the corner that are going to take us there. It is now this Galileo moment that we're not the center of the universe. Science is affirming, no, there's an entanglement. We're sovereign to something larger, a larger being, which we can call cosmos or universe, or I like using the spiritual terms, the divine. We're sovereign to that one, right? And when we start living into that, I've been emphasizing here the delicious part, exquisite part, I found it, all of that. But here's the neat thing is, as more and more of us do that and live into it, really see that I'll call it source energy. I'll go back to scientific terms. We're part of source energy, right? There's one source. The whole cosmos is part of that source. So we've seen what 2,500 years ago, what Buddha did as he lived as source, right? 2,000 years ago, we can see what Christ did as he lived as source. So now, as we're on this new journey, we don't have to sit here with questions of, well, what does it look like to live as source? We know Buddha's story, we know Christ's story. We know what this was, where you open your heart, you're living into a connected world. You're going the awakened way. There are different terms for these things. We know what these are. So it's our moment where we've got our invitation is we've been students, all of us, forever and ever. We've read the books, we've gone to the classes and things, we've got the certifications. It's our moment now to really lean in, to stretch in, and to live as the source energy that we are. And it's not a sacrifice. I mean, I walked away from, the gazillion-dollar world. This was not a sacrifice. Man, now I'm really living. I wasn't living, anywhere near in Silicon Valley like I am now. This is where we find it, is the whole thing. So, and just one other point to bring in here is, within conscious living, I get to work with all the best mediums in the world, and the best near-death experience people like Dr. Eben Alexander, who's, if you Google it, very well thought of in academic and science circles. These are not shadowy figures at all. So, and these people, and he wrote Proof of Heaven. So these people will share that there's what they call a life review at the end of our life. They'll all use the same term. Yep, life review. Was you go through that tunnel, you experience your life, and then there's a question asked at the end. Now, as you experience your life, guess what? The house, the bank account, the car, no, that's not in the life review. What is it? They all say the same things in the life review. What's in the life review is those people that were around you, that were with you, that were watching you, that were learning from you. You're experiencing what they were thinking and feeling as you were sharing. That's the life review from the beginning to end. And where you're loving and in service and sharing, guess what you're feeling into in that life review. Now, and where it was always about me and I'm going to make more and it's transactional and you need to do this and you need to do that. And then you're kind of cheating and stuff. Guess what that life review is like? So there's a real contrast here, So remember the Stephen Covey thing, which was the number 2 of his 7 habits, begin with the end in mind.
Right.
Begin with the end. So the end is a life review, and I'm going to be watching other people reacting to me and how I am with them. That's a whole different way of living than everybody else is getting theirs. I'm going to go get mine, and I'm just getting, treating the earth like a warehouse, marginalizing other people. That's an entirely different way of living than that. So this all suggests this conscious living thing. It not only feels exquisite, but maybe it's pointing us toward our North Star, toward the kind of life that we want to live, toward the kind of life that in our life review we want to enjoy.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate, Make Money meditation today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so many places where we can check out, right? I mean, I think about myself. There's so many more ways I could be living more consciously. There's all kinds of ways I'm not maybe contributing the highest to the planet. I mean, I'm human. So I think about, like, I've got local organic food I could be going to buy, but it's more convenient to go down the store to some of the bigger stores, things like that. Even though I might be making better choices than most people there, still, it's like, why don't you just do this more or whatever? well, it's inconvenient, right? So it's like, we all have our growing edges in all these different places. Maybe I'm stronger in meditation though, right? Like it's almost this would not be a good idea probably, but it could be a good idea for somebody to do. Coming up with a checklist. Maybe you guys have one checklist of like, yeah, here's a conscious living. This is kind of what it looks like meditation, this, the breath work, whatever. I don't know, whatever it is. But my point is like, there's all these different areas, and I think probably people, my experience is like a lot of what happens with the non-consciousness is you don't want to experience something, right? You don't want to experience the pain of inconvenience. You don't want to experience, maybe some sadness or having to unpack some truths that are there that are hard truths because now you have to let go of old beliefs, that maybe your parents held or the tribe held or whatever. And there's so many things to unpack, and if we're brave enough to face those things, yeah, there's all kinds of massive awakening for us. And I know your platform helps with that, right? To start unpacking all that, and your book helps with that, and to go through that stuff. So I'd love to hear how you help people to start actually doing it, to step into more conscious living.
Yeah, so for sure. And I grew up again, like everybody listening here, I didn't, there's nothing unusual about me. Uh, I guess I've been early, on stuff as you mentioned. But so here's the thing: is one on the checklist. No, don't create a checklist. I don't want to.
You're right.
What we want to do is go in the direction of compassion. Actually, we
Mm-hmm.
all grew
Yes.
up with stuff, right? I mean, I grew up with my parents got divorced. I was in the sixth grade, and uh, there's a lot of things I had to overcome. A lot of people always, I was the middle kid, so I wasn't the talker. Middle kids listen well. So I've been underestimated my whole life, even as I've had a pretty incredible life. And
Mm-hmm.
most of the things that I've started, people are, because I listen well, I'm not talking. People think that maybe this guy doesn't have much to offer. I think we all have things, that where people think less of us and don't feel like we have many gifts, and we have to live with those kinds of impressions that people have and overcome those impressions. So where I would start with this whole conscious living thing is be really compassionate. Even
Mm-hmm.
the word God, as I bring in God and the divine, we know about the Crusades and stuff, right? I mean, there were some terrible things that have happened in the name of God. We're over in Europe in a big way where the Crusades happened. Guess what? They don't like the word God. It's a very loaded term over there. You shouldn't paint with a white brush. Some probably do, but a lot of people don't. It's like, man, it's been terrible, what's happened in the name of God. So now what I've come to understand, because I've been in such I'll call it privileged space where I'm leading this nonprofit that's doing all of this, got this massive library of consciousness raising education, and I get to work with all the best leaders in the whole world, is that God never was any of those things. The crusade and judgment and punishment, and that actually isn't true of source or universe or God. If we will, it's just not true. It's actually a loving universe. It's a universe that that works to be in harmony. It really is. Greg Braden's research, Bruce Lipton's research. Bruce Lipton was a researcher at Stanford, and a very esteemed one at that. Uh, Lynn McTaggart's research, Nassim Harriman, who's a physicist, so there's a lot of scientific research that supports these things that I'm saying. So this whole journey to conscious living, it starts with being really compassionate with ourselves. Of man, I haven't had the easiest life, and kind of, it's okay, the mistakes I've made, and we start with that. And then if we just keep going, learn a little more, start becoming a little more open-hearted, a little more in service, guess what? It feels good, is what I found. And then you do more, and then you do more, and then you do more. Eating right. I didn't used to pay any attention to stuff either. In the way I grew up, it was always canned food. Let's open the ravioli tonight, guys. Yeah. Uh, so I get it. I mean, me too. And now, as I'm studying the research that's in, is saying, wow, we have a lot of toxins in our bodies because of this stuff we've eaten. Need to go
Mm-hmm.
back to heirloom seeds if we can, or buy organic and things.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this is because I've been on this journey. Remember, 21 years I've been leading this nonprofit. So that's a lot of time to research, talk to experts in the field, adjust my diet and so on.
Mhm.
So what I would suggest is create some awareness, do some research, then start embodying this research, and then start engaging others, which is what we're doing here, where we're just telling our stories and inviting others to do these things. It's an inside out job, what we're talking about, conscious living. So our vocal cords do very little here. So where I'm just mouthing off verbally, oh, da 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 da, it doesn't mean anything. We've all heard too many, stories and things don't have meaning. Now, true expressions of our life, you can actually hear the truth of that. And now we can start having some impact as we're engaging others, where people hear, yeah, this guy fell down all over the place too. This guy, everybody thought little of him too. We're approachable, we're reachable.
Right.
And then we can actually start having impact with others, where there's a sense that, we're not walking on water at all. We're just telling our true story and inviting others to live a little better life. So that's what I would say as we journey down this whole conscious path thing.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's really great. I mean, I was a introverted, shy kid. I mean, so that I sort of relate to that aspect, like just being quiet. Uh, I was underestimated in terms of people just figure you're just some quiet, shy, weak kid, or whatever. And of course, there's fire that builds up underneath that, as you know, Steve. I'm sure it's same for you. You're like, I'll show you weak. So, and then the beast comes out, it may not be conscious, but it's like, I'll show them. And then you're like, okay, maybe I don't need to show them anymore eventually, right? And then it's more like, okay, all right, I don't have anything to prove anymore in that regard. And you wake up there, right? So it's like, you become stronger, so people actually do start perceiving you differently. They're not saying you look kind of weak, like, okay, now your frequency changed, and maybe people don't see you that way. At least that was true for me. And then so we evolve. People can see the changes that are happening, and then it's like, yeah, you never want to think you're done, though. I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's, I think, a big trap for a lot of some of the gurus and some different people. Anybody, it could be a trap for anybody. And it's just to realize there's always more, and to be like I said, be enthused, be excited by that rather than it's a drag. Yeah, it wouldn't be great if we didn't have to deal with money, but you have money to deal with, right? But you don't have to make it your God. Like I don't know if you did, Steve, but you were real after the money, right? So it's like money, money. All right, we got it now, right? And then it's like, so many people are not, if that's their thing, right? Then they're not happy. Usually, they're very miserable. So then it's like, yeah, now I'm not worried. I'm not concerned about that. Totally different. I have no totally different mindset around money. It's like, yeah, it's great. It's a tool, or whatever. And we have a whole different approach to it rather than the conquer thing. Because I can still feel it, Steve. I don't know if you ever, maybe you don't feel it anymore, but I can feel the part of me as a man that's like, oh, me go out, conquer. I can go get stuff and do stuff. And then I'm like, yeah, but no, we don't operate that way so much anymore. It might come out here and there. It's kind of fun, right? To win a game or something or whatever. But you know what I mean? But like, it's not the dominant factor in your life anymore. And so I think that's what we're asked to do, is to live from the quantum, live from the flow, the deeper connection, the presence. And it probably does look more, I don't know, feminine or whatever, but yeah, it's different.
Yeah, so there's a lot there,
Yeah.
but that one is this delicious, exquisite thing. So uh, that comes from just total honesty. So if I'm embellishing my story and making it more than it was, I don't get that delicious, exquisite thing. I don't. There's not anything that feels great. It doesn't. On the other hand, where I'm just letting my heart sort of speak of the truth of what this journey has been, there are things that I have done well. So, but there are other things that have been very, very challenging for me, and that's where I'm sharing the fullness of that, all of it. The didn't work here, made all these mistakes here. Really glad I did this. That's where I start feeling this really good stuff. So that's one. Two is this heavenly realm, I mentioned Proof of Heaven, Dr. Eben Alexander. So, what this and there are many really great mediums that are very credible people in the academic and science world, and that have studied this phenomena of consciousness and gone into near-death experiences and things. They're all essentially coming back with the same story, which is that once we pass transition, we're energy. There's physics says that energy can't be destroyed or created, right? That's one of the basic fundamentals of physics. We're an energy being. So we transition, we lose a body, as we know, but then we're going into the afterlife without a physical body is what's happening. That's what's described by these near-death experience people and these mediums. And what they're saying is, and that they experience firsthand in a near-death experience, is there's this beautiful oneness, which is the whole landscape. It's all that you feel with this perfect love, which you have trouble even putting into words. So here's the thing for me is, as I look at my younger self, where it was just, Steve, hit the gas pedal, they're getting theirs, you go get yours, and so many others, as I look out in the world that are living that way today, I think, oh man, thank God I didn't pass, where this was the end of it. And I went into this other realm where, a life review of how loving was I and stuff, and then it's all about love. And all I did down here was, I'm like a locust, just gathering stuff from the planet. Thank God I didn't pass. So what I'm endeavor to do now is just invite people to, to stretch into this. Take some courses if you haven't done so already. Read some books, watch some movies. There's that invite you into this and start trying to live this. Because boy, if at the end of my life I can look out and see that there's some real change maybe that I helped to support just through the simple invitations I was extending. It's like, wow, now that's a life well lived. I want to live that life, So that's what I'm endeavoring to do today with all of the things that I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so great. And yeah, it's the invitation. And every time you make the invitation, it's like we're making the invitation for ourselves again. That's how I see it too, right? We open ourselves more. So that's so phenomenal. And now, yeah, that I have at times binged for a while, like listening to all these stories of people that, go to the other side and everything and hear their stories. And yeah, it's wild. I mean, so many people have even great lives here. They're like, I didn't want to come back. Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. Like, no, you need to go back still. Oh, all right, all right. So I even had a great marriage, everything. They're like, I want to go back. So yeah, I mean, but those that have, transitioned completely, we still have access to them. I wanted to talk about that part today because I still access what I sense to be my dad's consciousness, his energy or his consciousness, however you want to look at it, from the other side. And I channel what I perceive to be the energy of Jesus and other beings and whatnot. And people will say, well, how do you know it's real and all this stuff? It's like, I can't tell you. I can't prove anything to you. All I know is what I sense from it. And it seems to when I tune into other things, it sure seems to be pretty accurate. So I tend to believe it's accurate. So I just go with it. And if it resonates, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But the reason why I'm bringing up this subject, as you know, is because we have like a new team I've become aware of that's been forming on the other side to help during this time. And, someone I really admired or really, enjoyed. I didn't have a lot of intersections with her stuff, but what she shared, but Barbara Marks Hubbard, more so with like a Wayne Dyer and whatnot. But they're on the other side. We could access them. We could connect with them. And I understand that you've had intersections with them, and actually that there's a collective on the other side. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that today? That was our big thing we wanted to share as part of this broadcast today.
Yeah. So this is neat, Daniel, because I have not shared this publicly at all yet. This is the very first time, and I'll be sharing a lot more here out in the future. But yes, let me take you through this. Absolutely, that is your dad. That is Jesus. I would say. So here's what happened to me. is, first of all, I worked closely with Barbara Marx Hubbard. She lived in Colorado those years before she passed in 2019. A huge figure in this area of transformation. Also ran for vice president, people may know, years ago. So she was a big person in this world. When she passed, boy, the New York Times had a massive spread on her life, as they should have. She had a big, big life here on the planet. Well, in June of this year, I had some friends come to me that are well respected, that worked closely with Barbara, wrote books with her, studied with her, taught classes with her. I guess I don't really need to reveal names. People wouldn't know their names anyway, but they reached out, they texted me, and they said, Steve, Barbara wants to talk to you. And I was pretty sure, because of who they are, I knew what they were talking about, but I said, Barbara who? Because she did transition in 2019. They said, Barbara Marx Hubbard. And I said, okay, let's go talk. Now, I'm going to just give you a little bit before I give you the Barbara story as to why that's not so unusual for me that somebody in the afterlife wants to talk to me. Okay, so you mentioned Wayne Dyer. Years ago, about 4 years ago, we created a masterclass in Humanities Team called Life After Death. This was and is a massive masterclass that we created with Wayne Dyer's daughters, Sage Dyer and Serena Dyer. Sage is the youngest, Serena's second youngest daughter. Marceline is the wife of Wayne Dyer, also involved in this. A medium who's very esteemed, Karen Noe. So these people approached me back years ago and told me the most phenomenal story. And this is his daughters, right? Two of his daughters. And what they said is, Wayne came through Karen and said, Wayne says, call Sage and Serena and stuff. And Karen calls them, and they are like, wow, wowed by this. And the families all got together with Karen to just have a little chat with Wayne, right, from the afterlife. So Serena, the second youngest daughter, while they're talking, Wayne says, congratulations, Serena, on your pregnancy. And Serena goes, oh, God, here I was thinking this was real. And I was talking to my dad. I'm not pregnant. this is garbage. What am I doing? I'm wasting my time. And the family says, Serena, you were having wine last night and you're pregnant. And she says, I'm not pregnant. I have a 6-month-old. He must be talking about my 6-month-old. And Wayne says, no, and congratulations, July 4 is when you're going to have this baby. So Serena's just all pissed off and says, I'm going to go get a pregnancy test. I'll show you. Well, yeah. Guess when she was due? Yes, she is pregnant, and she's due July 4. Okay, now, if that isn't enough, then there's a lot more, but I'll leave it at this. Then Sage is, or Serena's delivering her baby at a hospital. You don't go on social media to say, I'm going to deliver a baby. Nobody knows, right? But Sage, her daughter, her sister, is with her as she's delivering a baby. Sage's phone starts ringing as Serena's delivering. And Sage is like, what the, hello? It's Karen Noe, the medium, saying, your dad just wanted to be with you, Serena, while you're delivering your baby. Okay, so now there's a lot more. Again, we created a whole masterclass around this. And you could say Sage is a liar, Serena's a liar, Marceline, the wife, is a liar, Karen, no. Okay, you could say that if you want. Wayne actually reached out to me then through Karen Noe also. So I have some experience with this whole afterlife thing. Okay, back to the Barbara Marx Hubbard story. So I said, okay, let's talk. So a woman named Cynthia Love, who was very close to these other two, said, I will channel Barbara. So we set up a first meeting. And I asked all the questions you're going to ask to just confirm, am I talking to Barbara or who am I talking to, right? Things that I knew about her life that people wouldn't know, including some really painful things that happened. I'm not going to get into what those were. But I just started going through those of what happened, why did this happen? This created a pressure. Why you said this? What did you mean by that now? Do you have a different perspective? Went through all of that stuff. And it was like, wow, this is looking like it's Barbara. Interesting. So, and then I said, after I satisfied myself it was Barbara, I said, why are you coming to me? You know, she has a sister who's alive, a daughter who's alive. Neale Donald Walsch wrote the biography on her. I said, so why are you coming to me? And she said, because the Humanities Team platform is, we plan to use that for a mission from the afterlife that we're going to launch all across the planet. I said, really? Huh. Tell me about that. And so she started to tell me, and this was, there were a series of meetings then, 3 or 4 private meetings to go through all of this. She said, yes, there's a group called the Divine Collective here in the non-physical realm that's created a mission to support humanity. It's called the Divine Collective. There are 144 spirit beings that comprise the Divine Collective. The newest member, the 144th and newest member, is me, Barbara Marks Hubbard. I said, really? Well, who are the others? So you can just imagine when all the names we know, right, from the spirit realm, Jesus, Mother Mary, St. John the Baptist, St. Francis, all of the names. I'm giving you more the Christian side, Buddha. I mean, just go down the list of the 100. If you were going to pick the 144 that were the most esteemed that lived on this planet, or that were elements, you know, central sun, Gaia herself, the planet, and so on. This would be your list. She said, yep, these are the 144. And I said, okay, what do you want Humanities Team to do here? She said, well, we have 71 books, each 77 pages long, that we're bringing to the earth here very soon. The first book, called Choices, coming out this year. Want you to help distribute it all over the world. Next, we're going to do weekly meetings where we will channel, 5 or 6 of us every meeting. I said, okay, great. What else? And she said, and there's something called Divine Reiki that we've created, not regular Reiki, Divine Reiki, very powerful. The planet has never seen anything like it. And we're going to do weekly programs with that. I said, wow, okay. Now I'm still looking for evidence. So I said, the books, you said books, send me these books. Let me read this material in these books. Keep in mind, I've got 21 years here leading Humanities Team. I can't afford to slip on banana peels,
Right.
Okay, I'm talking to Barbara. I've got that. But, and now I'm supposed to be helping with books and channeled meetings and divine Reiki and all these things.
Right.
And it's like 21 years in, I'm not making mistakes. So send me these books. So the material was sent to me, fell out of my chair. There's too much for me to even try and tell you about what's in these books, including this one called Choices, coming out this year. So in the next 30 days, it's called Choices. It's free if you through Humanities Team. So Humanities Team with a Y. If you go to humanitiesteam.org and scroll down, you'll see Divine Collective. We'll be giving that first book away for free. And then also the weekly meetings where you hear Jesus talk and Buddha talk and Mother Mary talk and the Divine Reiki. And you really want to blow your mind, come to the Divine Reiki and experience this whole new form of Reiki where I don't think you've ever felt anything like what's going to happen to you it's a virtual thing. You lay on your couch as you're experiencing that on Wednesdays. But the point of all of this was not like wow moments of, oh, I got to listen to, or, oh, I got to feel. It's to partner with you. This Divine Collective, this whole thing, this mission of theirs is they're saying, we're coming in to partner with what they call the new human collective, people that answer the call, people that are going to live consciously into this oneness and take off their social mask and live into the fullness of this, all of what, Daniel, you and I are talking about. Answer the call to that. So that's the whole purpose of this. And as you listen to these, what happens as you journey with it is one of the 144 will pick you. And the name is given to you of this one. We all were assigned one. And then when you, in your daily practice, when you pray and meditate, boy, that one will come in, I promise you.
Yes.
That one will come in an amazing way. I'll just say one last thing, because I know I've gone long here. As I've mentioned, I can't afford to slip on a banana peel with 21 years in, and it's a nonprofit that we are, humanities team, 21-year-old nonprofit. So I said to God and Jesus and so on, I said, you give me a no other explanation miracle. Show me something that there's no way to explain it other than it had to have come from you. Because I can't take chances here. Like even right now, I'm sitting here talking to people all over the world. I can't be walking people over crazy cliffs. So show me something where there's no other explanation. It had to be you. 30 minutes later, I'm sitting outside. I live here in the Boulder, Denver area. It's big, huge sky. Sometimes you see jets fly over, with their white chem streams and things. I'm sitting there. Within 30 minutes later, I'm sitting in a little booth where I do prayer and meditation. It's just got a teeny little window to the sky, not very big. And I looked out to the left out that little window, and a perfect white cross. You had a chemtrail, you had a north-south jet and a east-west jet cross. It wasn't a X, it was a cross where, a cross then means that you've got toward the tie side of the north-south is where the east-west plane crossed. It had a perfect white cross. And I said, okay, that's all I needed. I'm now.
Not enough.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh my gosh. This is so interesting. And so, wow. I mean, so is Karen the one that's like doing most all the channeling, or is it like other people too? Or how does that work? I'm really curious.
Yeah. So there's a woman named Cynthia Love who goes by Nadia, who is
I
the
just friended her on Facebook, I believe. Cynthia Love,
Karen
yeah.
Noe. So that's the other. Okay, Karen Noe is the other medium that was Wayne Dyer. So this is Cynthia Love, and
Okay.
I can give you contact information, Daniel. But
Okay.
she we have a 10-year agreement with them now, where those channeled meetings, the divine Reiki meetings, the books, the live programs will all be. This is why Barbara came to find me, not her Neale or her sister or her daughter, as she said, you guys are a 21-year-old nonprofit. You've been devoted to just the truth. And we've decided, our 144, that you guys are going to platform all this stuff all over the world.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing now.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's really yeah, that's so perfect, and that it's so exciting, it's so potent, it's so, yeah, exhilarating and scary in a way, maybe. And right, it's like, wow, what are we doing? Right. That's a perfect combo, right? Because it's so powerful what's coming through. And I can't wait. I mean, this is gonna be, I mean, I think you said something like this when we met, maybe not, maybe it's just what I thought, but like, yeah, everybody's gonna be knowing about this. And
Everybody
I
will know about it. Yeah. So when you hear them talking, in the channeling meeting, they're sharing, don't worry, this will get done. This will be done. We're inviting you to participate. You have free choice. You can say, forget it, I don't want to. Or you can say, I want to. I'm going to be part of that new human collective. But they're saying, this will get done now, this whole awakening experience, and this journey to a way that where the planet's going to become habitable for the long term. They're all saying it's going to get done. Don't worry, this will
Right.
get done.
Right. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the one that there's more than one for me, but the one that's the center point for me these days for a long time has been Jesus. And I do every morning. And I just get a brief message. I don't usually do a big channeling, but I just sit down with Jesus. I just say, okay, I just let him channel through me, and usually says similar things, and I might vary a little here and there, but it's always like about love and peace and things like that, right? It's just, and I just feel the presence, I just feel like, yeah, I'm in heaven on earth right here, right in that channel. Like you can feel it so palpably. And what comes through is just like, yes, of course, yes, yes, yes. And so, I mean, I think like this, so one of the downloads I get on it too is that this is going to ignite. So you're going to be guiding people to those guides, those whatever the beings they're supposed to connect with. It's just logical, right? That's going to happen. And so that's going to unleash mass awakening in a huge way, even on just that one level, like so many levels of this. This is phenomenal. Just totally
Oh, here,
phenomenal.
a couple of things. I know you don't have much more time, Daniel.
Right.
We just did the Divine Reiki. I said how powerful it is. We had a woman come on just day before yesterday. First call that she'd ever been on. Didn't know anything about the Divine Collective. Very esteemed, big in the transformation world. Does not lend herself to hyperbole at all. This is a very, down to earth type woman. At the end of the whole powerful Divine Reiki session, people could share their experience. She came on and she said, "Oh my God." She said, "My face has had paralysis. There's Bell palsy where you lose your." She said, during that Divine Reiki, there was this voice that said, "This illness has no longer any purpose. It's time to heal this." And there were two hands then that she could feel reaching into her face. And she said, "Look at my face. I can move my face now."
Wow.
It was like,
Wow.
are you kidding me?
Wow.
And then what was shared was, yes, that was Jesus and that was Archangel Raphael who's also known as a great healer that had reached in and that had healed her face. Unreal.
Wow.
That's the beginning. Wait and see what comes here in these months and years ahead.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is so exciting. So I mean, yeah, I would love to, who knows, maybe we'll have more conversations on this in the future. But for now, so people can get plugged into it, where could that's the thing I'm really excited for people to be able to get access to. So you talked about the book, you gave a URL. Is there anything else going on they can, because people are really like, I need to get in on that thing right away. I could just feel it. So like, is there what else should they be doing to get, started getting in the front line on this one?
Yeah. So Humanities, we're a nonprofit 501c3, 21 years old. So humanitiesteam.org, that's with a Y, humanitiesteam.org, one word. Go there, scroll down, and you'll see Divine Collective, and you'll read a little bit about it. You'll see a picture of Cynthia Love. There's a link. Our streaming platform, so where you get all of Barbara Marx Hubbard's master classes and Greg Braden's and Nassim Harriman, all of Bruce Lipton. I mean, again, hundreds of master classes. It's $299 for a year, and it includes all of these sessions. So the there are 2 weekly sessions with this Divine Collective. They're free year round with the one-time $299 payment. There's a free program we're creating on this whole thing. We don't have it together yet, but I would suggest people come in and go read that, hit the link, and just see if there's enough there to where you would want to. There's a 14-day free trial, so you could just try it out and see if it feels real for you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so we'll make sure we get that link in the show notes as well. And then I do know you have a free gift too that that's been put together. Do you want to tell them about that now?
I do. So Changing Humanity's Future, future action steps that you can take. It's an ebook, and it's a free guide that we put together that we're getting great feedback on. So that's also, I think you've got the link here, Daniel.
Yes.
And so it's on our website, but you could also get it through Daniel right here on the podcast site. So check that out. Hit that link, Changing Humanity's Future, Future Action Steps, an ebook. I think you'll find it very valuable. And we've only been able to cover so much what conscious living is during this brief conversation. There's just a whole lot more there that'll support you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some of the things that I see here are that, you can take charge of your own consciousness, how to get involved, honor your body, your innate intelligence, act as the creator, use your thoughts, words, and deeds to shape your reality. So for you that maybe are like, boy, it'd be nice to have those concrete action steps for conscious living. Like I actually didn't even think about this, but the free gift actually lends itself really well to that, it sounds like. So take advantage of that for free. And this is just phenomenal. And I'm just so excited. I really am. I'm so honored and excited that somehow it worked out that you're making this announcement for maybe the first time. It's how you said the first time here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. It just is really exciting to me, what's happening, and I definitely want to get involved with it. Um, so yeah, so we'll be there. Me and whoever else wants to come. Definitely want to be a part of it. Okay, so we're at the time of the show where I just do my energy scan segment. So we're going to do some energy scanning for Steve. I can't wait to see what comes through. It's always amazing, and we'll see what comes through overall. With what we were talking about, who knows what else might want to come through? But at least we'll do a couple of quick downloads. Are you
Great.
ready to receive, Steve?
I am ready, Daniel. Let's go.
Awesome. All right, let me just tune in for a moment. Hmm. Okay. So there's something about again, I just share what comes through. I don't know if it's true or not. I just get something about like you having more fun, like just keep having more fun. Like I get this and I heard rhythms and blues. Like I got like this feeling like you're dancing, you're wanting to have more fun, you want to kind of flow even more because you're brilliant at like listening and then getting very strong and strategic and everything is my vibe of you. And then, of course, you got your channel too and all those things too. But it's like what I got though is the thing that keeps wanting to unlock is the inner child play even more and more. Like the more you play big, the better this whole project is going to unfold. Is what the message was. Like play it, play hard, like kind of vibe. So I just wanted to share that. I know you're having fun, but I just
Right.
want to encourage you more. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
beautiful. Thank you. No, that it's an ascending staircase, and I love people, and I love social interactions, and and I do. It's a big role here.
yeah.
still a volunteer all these years in. I'm not paid or anything, but I get incredible satisfaction doing what I'm doing. But yes, I mean, getting out and doing these fun social things, meeting people, I love it. So thank you. That's awesome.
Sure. And let's see what else might come through. One more download. Mm. Okay. They show me I get many feelings and downloads. It's like because we're so infinite, like everything comes in at once. But I see like the opening with your third eye, and then like there's this presence of I'm hearing Mother Mary. Like there's this sweet energy that's with you. Just feels very nurturing, and it does. It feels like there's an energy overall, and with I got Mother Mary of nurturing and protection, maybe sort of like a feeling like we've got you, kind of feeling. And so that was really really cool. And but yeah, I don't know, like I got to say it again because I don't know if you fully hit at the first time. I'm like getting the disco balls on, your third eye's wide open, and you're like, whoa, yeah. And I mean, like they really are just like you just have that fun. And so beyond meeting people, it just like every day, like more so, like just like wow, and realizing, yeah, you got a lot of responsibility, obviously. So, but at the same time, you can take it so much lighter as the message. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's yeah, that's the big message I think that wanted to come through today. So,
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you. That's beautiful. Who wouldn't want to do these things? So
right,
nice,
right,
Daniel. Yeah, and Jesus, Mother Mary. Oh yeah, I mean, I tune in, and yeah, their energies. They're part of the 144. That are
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
for
Yes,
humanity, and a beautiful thing. We can all tune into them. There's not. This isn't like single threaded just through a single person. Just as you mentioned, Daniel,
right,
you with Jesus. They're here.
right.
And if you decide, even separate from our program, that you want to connect with them, they're here to support you. And me, and we can have fun too, as you mentioned.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, and that fun message is for, again, it's for everybody. It's for me, it's for everybody else listening to at some level. Like we're all needing that message right now. And so that's why it's coming through. And so it's so perfect that way. So yeah, briefly, everybody, if you go to Your Sacred Purpose, you can have some fun meditating and making money. And the way that works is you get aligned, you get attuned, and you hear your guidance. You understand like what those guides are trying to tell you to help you with your life, and yeah, to allow more abundance and money to happen, so that you can make the contribution that you want to make by being, abundant. So you can check out that free meditation at yoursacredpurpose.com. You can check out the energy scanning stuff I do there. There's a consultation you can take advantage of, the Rock Your Sacred Purpose energy scan consultation. I train people to tune in and to do what I do and be healers and thrive. So you'll find information there on that as well. So you can check all that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. And Steve, I'm like, this is just too fast, there's so much more to unpack, but do you have any last words, for the audience today?
Yeah, just that every person listening is source energy, which is to say, so the scientists say you're sovereign to this universe. The universe could not be without you. And the spiritualists, it's even tastier that you actually are the arms and legs and lungs of the Most High, the daughters and sons of the Most High. You are that. You are that source energy. And we know the story, even I mentioned 2,500 and 2,000 years ago, but you have your St. Francis's and your Gandhis and these many others. And hey, this is the time. I mean, why would we not want to stretch into these things that Daniel and I are talking about and just live into the fullness of who we really are? So that's my big invitation is, let go, take the social mask off, let go of any crazy expectations on you, and just let yourself go live this awesome life consciously.
Awesome. Oh yeah, that's fantastic. And so I'm so grateful you've been on the show today, Steve. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Daniel, thanks so much for having me.
And to all our listeners, keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time. For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.